Hey everyone, this is Jason.
And Lorraine.
And this is the So the Land podcast. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about quarantining. Quarantining?
Quarantined on the homestead and what it's like for us living on our homestead.
Yeah, I thought this would be a good topic considering this is what we're all doing, hopefully, I think.
Over the last month or so, everyone, not just including the United States, but all over the world, has been quarantined to their homes. We just want to share with you what it looks like for us on our homestead. I know it looks different for everybody all around the world, and we thought we would take you along on this podcast and share with you what it looks like.
Yeah, we'll just talk about it. And if you hear chirps in the background, that's because we have about 30 chickens sitting in our living room right now.
Well, they're baby chicks.
Yeah.
They're in a brooder.
So we did a video on what would quarantine look like for us. This was about a month ago, before they actually started wanting people to be more quarantined and not go anywhere. So right after we put that video up was when everyone started quarantining. Quarantine.
Everyone was pretty much asked to be on lockdown.
There you go. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. We put out that video, then all of a sudden that happened, but we have not had to buy toilet paper yet.
We haven't, and it's been about a month.
Yeah, and we still have plenty, I think.
We have plenty. Yes.
At least maybe one more month.
No, we won't make it one more month. I won't make it one more month. I know everybody is just anxious to get back out and get back into the world. But we don't know how much longer we have on this. When
they wanted people to stay home, automatically a lot of the places in Asheville started closing down. You know, as far as like restaurants and stores, and especially the small businesses. And if you've ever been in this area, Asheville has a lot of small businesses, which is great.
It's a touristy town.
Yeah, and so there's no more tourists coming in. You know, it's pretty dead right now. Like nobody. I mean, people are driving around, of course, but like all the small businesses are closed. So we have our own shop space in Asheville at Atomic Furnishing Design, and they closed. So that means that is one of our income streams that we're not getting, and it was a little nerve-wracking at first, or kind of like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Because I mean, that has been really beneficial for us. We relied on that tourist traffic, on the foot traffic coming in, and so along with everyone else, but we relied on that to make an income for us, and so that just stopped. We also do YouTube, and so that gave us more time, I guess, to create more videos and more content for you guys.
Right, we had to scramble for a little bit there and try and figure out where we were going to put our next efforts into in our business, and where we can put our focus into where we're going to draw our next money from.
Yeah, and that's, I think, goes to like going back to, it's important to have different streams of income. And so then that's when we started, okay, we need to create more content, because also more people are home, more people are watching YouTube, more people are watching this content, and all of a sudden we're getting all these messages saying, hey, I wanted to grow more food, there's no more chicken at the stores right now, like, people are kind of panicking and buying a bunch of baby chicks, and they want to have chickens in their backyard now, which is great. And so that's just the content that we already put out. And so us creating more content, not having the store, it gave us that opportunity to create more of that.
We see a lot more people having more free time, and they're using this time at home to focus on creating new skills. And so the next question is, what are we doing with our time now that we're quarantined?
It's pretty much back to normal. I mean, we're always pretty much home anyways.
Yeah.
It kind of, I don't know, like life goes on here, I think. Even though we are affected by it in some way, I think for for the most part, it's very little. Like, yeah, our store is just closed right now. We're still creating content. We're still growing food. And believe it or not, which I was panicking about in the beginning, that people are not going to want to buy anything that we make. Like, we sell t-shirts and like small home goods, woodworking stuff, your apothecary line. And we're so thankful that people are buying. And we're focusing our efforts more of online sales now. It hasn't been what it was, I don't think, but it's pretty much there. It's almost there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Like, our time really hasn't changed because this is what we would have normally been doing anyway. I might not be going out as much myself, taking Penelope out on play dates, and
I think that's probably the main
thing
is going on play dates.
Yeah, that's basically what I did a lot, was leave the house to go on play dates, to nurture Penelope's community, because Jason and I have online communities. We have friends available with our smartphones, and Penelope doesn't really have a smartphone, and she doesn't really have access to that. So her outlet was being set up for play dates, and so that's what has changed. And I don't go out as much. We're home. Well, I don't go out anymore. We're home, and so now that we're home, I've been focusing my time on just kind of diving back into my herbalism books and trying to get organized in the house in that sense. Rewriting things. I have like little journals like all over the house. I don't feel organized, but I just have like little journals that I keep of recipes and medicinal herbs recipes that I read about, and then I log them into like a journal. I've also been spending a whole lot of time in our garden and getting some seeds planted in our greenhouse. And
yes, you've been doing a good job with that, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. So we've just been focusing on just kind of reorganizing our house. Well, at least for me, that's what it looks like for me. It's just kind of reorganizing some of the things in our house that I've kind of felt were scattered before, but just kind of focusing more on things that I've wanted to learn more about, like herbalism and certain kind of recipes, and the garden, learning how do I plant leeks. So I've been watching a few YouTube videos as well, and how to harvest them, or how to get certain kind of seeds going in started early in this time of year. So that's what I've been doing. I know a lot of people out there are doing the same as well, like focusing on, let's start a garden, or let's grow some baby chicks. And so
I know for us, we're definitely ramping up our food production here. Initially, we usually just do like 30 meat chickens. We'll run them on a chicken tractor, just 30 at a time. As soon as this all started to go down, I ordered another 30. So we have 60 meat chickens right now. And then we're looking to even grow more than that. And usually we don't do more than 60 in a year. But since this happened, it's like,
right,
we're
because
try to do that.
We had some speaking engagements that we had planned for this year, and already like one of them got canceled.
Right.
And so that freed up some time for us so that we were able to do some meat birds.
Yeah, I guess that's the reason why. Yeah, because we're not going anywhere anymore. We don't have those speaking engagements. So we have more time to do this. Hopefully the rest of the speaking engagements that we have don't get canceled.
I hope not, because I'm really looking forward to getting out and gathering again with seeing people face to face. And
yeah, it makes you really miss those times too. Even the times that we're like, maybe we just drive into town and maybe go to the grocery store as a family, or go to the store or something. Mm-hmm. Even though it may not seem like a lot.
Yeah.
But like not doing that now, it kind of makes you kind of miss that.
Right. Like being out as a family. Yeah,
just kind of being out and just like doing something a little bit differently than being home, I think.
Our next question is, how has our homestead changed now that this quarantine order has been issued and we've been quarantined for about a month now? I think we've already answered that question. already in this podcast. Like, it hasn't really changed in certain ways. Like, we are like, our normal day-to-day hasn't changed. We're always pretty much home. And if you know most homesteaders, they're usually home because they have animals that they care for, and they have to be home for feedings or milkings or whatever. We don't have any crazy large animals, but we did get pigs while we were on quarantine.
Yes, the pigs have been keeping us busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been great to have, I think. As far as that, like keeping us busy, like, because we're totally new to pigs, so it's just keeping us on our toes and just trying to figure that out. And so it's almost kind of nice that we're home because they're here, and so I would, we're gonna go travel to go speak, so that means we would leave the pigs here, and we would have a farm sitter, of course, but still, even that, just leaving and not knowing what's going on here is kind of nerve-wracking to think about. But yeah, I mean, I think the animals are keeping us busy. We have 60 meat chickens, plus we got more egg layers this year. I think we have 70 something chickens right now. That's the most we've ever had.
Yeah.
And plus the pigs and the garden. So, I mean, we've been keeping busy here. And so, I mean, I think everything looks very organized right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the animals are fed, and the garden's looking good.
Yeah.
So I think that's a plus.
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, like we've mentioned before, we've had some extra time to work on the garden, to grow some meat animals for our homestead. And like I mentioned earlier, we're just kind of getting our routines in order as far as like things that we do and just notebooks that we keep and that kind of thing. But it hasn't really changed. I do have to say, though, maybe some of our thoughts have changed since this whole quarantine. Like, I've made some realizations. Like, I've realized that we have an only child, and for her, play dates and nurturing a community for her is very important, because she is an only child here out on the homestead, and it can be kind of lonely for her. And so we've been really intentional about setting up phone conversations, like
Zoom calls
and like FaceTimes with her and her friends. That way she gets to feel that she has some playmates, and that's been really nice and enjoyable for her. We've also been taking time to sit down and play with toys, play with toys with her.
I mean, she's still doing guitar lessons.
Yeah, through Zoom.
Yeah, she does it online, which is cool.
Right, and we're still doing homeschool. So we've always done homeschool before this whole quarantine order has been issued. So that really, like I said, like it hasn't really changed. But in our thoughts, like I've had to just take a step back and take some realizations on Penelope's community, our business intentions, and refocus some business ideas there, and some things here on the homestead too. We've had to just kind of realize that maybe being home is nice, but also at the same time, I miss people.
Yeah, and I think it made me think about like say if we want to buy something, as far as something that we need, as far as like maybe me, I'm like making something, maybe I need to kind of source material. Like some of the materials that I buy is like maybe Amazon, right? Everyone shops on Amazon or online, but maybe we should start thinking about buying more local first and try to find local resources for certain things, rather than just, it's so easy just to go online and just buy it, right? But maybe we should try to start thinking more locally, even though I feel like we do, but maybe even do more of it, like even be more intentional about sourcing local things, like maybe go to the small hardware store here and see what they have, or see if they can get it for you. But so yeah, I mean, I've been thinking more about that. Maybe not go to the big box store for plant starts, maybe go to like the small nursery and be more intentional about it and be aware of those things. And I think supporting the small businesses is the most important thing, I think to think about right now, especially at this time, because a lot of those guys are struggling. And it's just kind of sad to see that, being that they're such a big part of this community here in North Carolina.
Now, in the beginning of in the early stages of this pandemic, when we were all being quarantined and everybody was rushing out to the grocery stores to purchase food, a lot of the shelves were empty, and they're still pretty much not quite fully stocked as of now. So we see that there is a lot of stores that are struggling to keep up the demand. I feel like that kind of just made us realize how important it really is to grow our own food right now, to be growing that and to have already grown it. And I know that this quarantine or this pandemic started right in a really awkward time for most people who grow their own food, because it was like the end of winter and you can't really have too much growing in your garden besides kale. So it was almost like, whoa, we have nothing in the garden growing, but we did have some canned things that we had canned from last year's garden. But it just, like I said, it just really made us think and realize like how important it is for all of us to have a small little garden. And if you don't, to reach out and support those who do have gardens and are taking it over to the farmers market. And because the farmers markets, they have plenty. So, and to realize how to cook with those ingredients as well, because they're not prepackaged meals, like frozen microwavable meals. They are just ingredients and you have to put them together. And so it's so important to have a journal where you keep all of your recipes and your meals, your meal planning out there, and to start collecting seeds and getting them into the ground and growing your own food.
Also, it made us, I think, realize that the importance of knowing farmers, right? Like a lot, some of the stuff like meat, or for instance, is like sold out at the stores. But well, we know, so-and-so farm, we know, I mean, we're fortunate enough to live in an area where there's quite a few farmers here that are raising pasture-raised meats, that we could just contact, go almost like skip the grocery store and go direct to the source and see if they're selling produce or meat. I think that's important as well, and also supporting those. And I would hope, like, hopefully we can all go back to a normal life, or back to normal as much as possible. But if that happens, I would hope that we can remember this time, and because people are starting gardens that never started gardens before because of this happening, and I think that's a good thing that's happening, that's coming out of this, and I would hope that we can continue doing that. And I had people from high school reach out to me and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this raised garden bed, and asking my opinion about it." And these are people I've never talked to since high school. And they're contacting me and asking me about how to grow a garden. So I just think that's pretty amazing to think about.
Going back to how has our homestead changed, Jason works from home. For those of you who don't normally follow our channel and are just watching this for the first time, and we homeschool our daughter, our only child, from home. So we're pretty much home like all of the time. So yeah, it really hasn't changed much for us. Right. I was worried that some of the agricultural stores would be closed down due to like them considering not being essential, or
people panic buying and buying all the seeds.
Right. Well, they did.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I mean that scared us, I think, a little bit.
But like as far as getting hay for the animals or going and picking up feed, I thought, or like our baby chicks, I thought, oh, what if the post office closed down? We're never going to get our baby chicks. That kind of scared me a little bit. But as far as like everything farming related, that has not closed down in our state of North Carolina for us. So we were able to buy seeds and buy farming equipment and
hay and like just normal stuff. But it kind of just made you think, like, where should we source some of these things? Should we try to be as local as possible?
All right, so that concludes this week's podcast. We want to thank you guys for joining us and for watching.
You can find this podcast on iTunes and Spotify and all the podcast apps. Also, we also post this on our Sow the Land YouTube channel. Now, maybe you guys can leave a comment. You guys have been watching who watch us on YouTube. Maybe leave a comment. Let us know how you're, maybe you're doing new skills. Have you doing no skills since this quarantining? This quarantine has happened. Let us know in the comments. We love to know what you're learning, what new skills you're learning. I think that's amazing that people are doing that. But I appreciate you guys listening
and watching.
And we'll see you guys on the next one.